Hello, I'm Cole Chase, and in this video I'll share the process of designing and building my very own custom light fixture. I'll share some of my design considerations, some of my early prototypes, and what's next for me in my design studio, so stick around. Before I begin, I really want to thank you all for reaching 600 subscribers. I know I'm not the most consistent YouTuber out there, but I truly do try as much as I can to put together videos, so I appreciate you all subscribing. And for that, I did decide that I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card. This is open to everybody across the world as long as I can get you an Amazon gift card. I'll have the details on the screen now for what you need to do to get entered. But again, I really appreciate it, and let's get back to today's video. A few months ago, I bought my first 3D printer, a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. Since then, I have been pretty obsessed with learning Fusion 360 and designing some of my own products. While there are some great resources out there like Maker World, Things, and Printables, there's nothing quite like designing and printing some of your very own designs. In today's video, we're going to talk about the custom light fixture I designed for my IKEA boaxial shelving system. The primary goal for this light fixture is to provide some much needed light for some houseplants, but it's also just going to be a nice decorative piece to add to my office. Before actually opening Fusion 360, I first take dimensions of my boaxial shelving system. My main design constraint is the rail that runs through the middle of the shelf, and kind of the reason I am designing this light fixture. I really wanted to create a light fixture that could be centered along that rail, and it would just be a nice way to have the light fixture centered above the shelves underneath it. For actually designing the light fixture, I have been learning Fusion 360 for the last few months. I use Autodesk products for work, so the jump to Fusion 360 really wasn't all that difficult for me. I must say, after spending much time in a 3D design software, the Imperial system, Metric is way better and much easier to use, so I kind of understand where everybody across the world is kind of fed up with our units over here. I knew that when I was designing my light fixture that it would end up having to be printed in multiple pieces, so I pretty much had to design around that. And I knew that I would need some type of robust joining system, and that's kind of the first rabbit hole I went down. In the back of my head, I knew that this fixture would be part of a collection or series where parts could kind of be swapped out and changed with maybe different colors and materials. So I had to stay away from permanent joining methods like glue and self-tapping screws, just because once those screws were in there, that glue was set, it was gonna be a tough time actually disassembling the light fixture if anything went bad over time, or if I wanted to kind of change up some colors and not just have to throw the whole fixture away. In the beginning, heat set inserts kind of seemed like it was going to be my solution here. So I designed around them in the beginning, but after a couple assembly and disassemblies, I noticed that the heat set inserts were actually pulling out of my prints. And maybe this was design tolerances I didn't account for, but after a little bit of digging, it seemed like heat set inserts were best inserted in your prints from upside down. That way the screw is actually pulling the insert towards you. However, because of the design of my light fixture, inserting these heat set inserts from the bottom of the print just really wasn't an option given all the material that was in the way. After spending countless hours watching Fusion 360 tutorials, I eventually came across a friction fit that I really enjoyed. The friction fit that I ended up going with ultimately allowed me to skip any post-processing that would be required for using heat set inserts, while also reducing costs with some of those components that I no longer needed. The light needs to be mounted to the shelving system from above. The simplest method I found for doing so is with magnets. Within Bamboo Studio, you can put pauses in your prints. This gave me the opportunity to simply drop a magnet in right before the first layer that would actually be printed above the magnet. This was really nice because it hid the magnet, it kept it securely in place. I did design a little too much of a gap for the magnet. However, I fixed this by using just simple Gorilla Glue. This ensured that the hot end wouldn't actually pull the magnet up when printing, and allowed me to use a simpler technique of inserting the magnet, knowing that I wouldn't actually have to push with much effort to actually get it into the print. Looking back at some of my earlier prototypes again, I was forced to disassemble the socket and cord in order to actually fish the electrical wires into the 3D print. There is, of course, a couple of issues with designing around this kind of method. It adds time of disassembling the socket, and it'll typically void any type of certification or warranties that you would get with the actual socket and cord set. So I knew kind of later on in the design process that disassembling and assembling the socket assembly was something I really needed to find a solution for. When I actually disassembled my first socket, I ended up breaking some of the plastic off, and essentially because these are some cheaper cord and socket sets, I just wasn't too comfortable with even putting it back together and using it. Since I needed to keep the socket assembly in one piece when actually building the print, I just created a nice gap where the rail of the biaxial shelving system meets the base of the 3D print. And within that gap, I actually created a small kind of raceway for the cord to be fished out of either side of the 3D print. This just provides a much cleaner look, and it allows you to have your electrical source for the light fixture be on the left or the right of the shelving system without creating any unnecessary or ugly wires and cords kind of showing for everybody to see. With all of the design decisions finished for the base, I was ready to move on to kind of the final piece for this, and that was actually the shade. After a couple trials and errors, I ultimately was able to design a shade that didn't have any type of infill pattern visible. And this was nice because the shade itself was thin enough that there was no infill pattern, but there was also a heavy enough diffusion that you couldn't actually see the light bulb behind it. I think that's kind of one of the biggest criteria for a shade, is you don't want to be able to see the light bulb itself. With the design of the light fixture out of the way, I was ready to get to 3D printing and assembly. Okay, so we are over here in the workshop area in my office, and I just want to show you some of my early prototypes and some of the issues I was having with them, and then show you kind of the solutions I came up with to make everything work. Before we get into the specific grow light, biaxial shelf light, I don't know what name I'm gonna come up with it, but it'll have a name at some point. But I was experimenting pretty early on and wanted to create something a little bit simpler than a custom light fixture design for the shelving system, and I ended up designing a simple table lamp. This is the simple table lamp I put together. It is essentially 3 pieces. We have a base, middle, and top section, and then we have the shade as well as a lid on top to actually diffuse the light from the very top of the print. One thing you do have to design around is being able to piece the light fixture together while also having enough room to screw in your bulb and get your hand back out. So with a lot of these prints, I did design a cap that went over the top of the shade. That way I could get a fully diffused light. In some instances, I take the cap off if I want kind of more coverage, as more of like a wall wash, if I'm using like this table lamp specifically. But in most scenarios, I'm going to keep the shade cap on just to create much better diffusion and a little less intensity. This right here is the first shade that I made for this kind of finalized design. And you'll notice just one really nice thing is that these will snap together really nicely. I did kind of up, and I put the directions for tightening and removing backwards. So actually to remove this shade, you have to turn it to the right. Clockwise, I guess, is a better way of describing that, instead of counterclockwise as you would typically expect for loosening something. So that's one quick, easy fix I was able to do after that. But I think that's why prototyping is so important. You'll notice that the texture of this 3D print is very solid. There's nothing really added to it. And after this, I was ready to design around something with a little bit of texture. So I actually went with an all white print for this one. It is again just 2 pieces, and I pretty much fixed all of the issues that I had with the other ones. After designing a simple one for the biaxial shelving system, it was a lot easier for me to then go and take that same design and apply it to something simpler like a table lamp, where you just have a simple cord coming out of the bottom. This one does have some texture to it, so the shade as well as the base have the same texture applied to it, and I just really love this design. So what's next for me and my design studio? I don't know what you want to call it, but that's what I'm calling it for now. A 3D print farm in progress, hopefully. I think if it becomes a farm, that means I'm getting orders and people are interested. But I've really enjoyed designing this light fixture. It serves a purpose, and I think that is one of the best aspects about it. I was able to design around a biaxial shelving unit and create a light fixture that's centered perfectly above. There's a couple of small things I'd love to fix. I'm having some issues with bed adhesions where the corners of these parts that are actually printed on the print bed are peeling up, and I have one corner that just seems to always give away for me, creating kind of a gap that I'm not a huge fan of. If you made it to the end of the video, I just really want to thank you for sitting here and watching and listen to me talk about 3D printing and designing, because it's just something that I've quickly learned and just really enjoy doing. Don't forget about the giveaway that I mentioned. Make sure you check out the requirements. I'll throw them back up on the screen so that you can get your name entered. And I really appreciate you watching today's video, and have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you.